All right, so for this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to do some free agent bidding, and then how to update the cap sheets along with it. I'll see how far we get today. Might do some other like cap sheet moves and stuff, but I won't go into renegotiations or stuff. I want to save that for another video. So one thing I think is really important that a lot of people might miss, that I'm going to say right at the beginning here. And I mentioned it in the last video, but it would have been easy to miss. I want you to be aware that after payday, so payday is before our regular season starts. It's after free agency too, and before the season starts. After payday, any cuts will not improve your cap space. And I think that's some people might think that during the regular season, if you cut a player, you would get some of their salary back, but you won't. It's after payday, everyone's considered paid, so any cuts you make will not lower your salary. They can only increase your salary based on the signing bonuses. After payday, the only way you can free up cap space is if you trade it away. For example, last year, I was really near the cap and wanted to free up some space, and I had Cooper Kupp on a huge contract, and so I traded him, and I moved back in the draft to I traded something like Cooper Kupp and a 6th round pick for a 7th round pick. So I went back in the draft just so I could dump his contract. So I thought that would be an important thing to mention. So for free agency, here I got the message board up. I'll start by opening the rules. Here's the link for that. I'll open that in a new tab. What I want to show here is, if you go, like I mentioned, the free agency periods, at the end of the rules, we got a schedule, and this is tentative. Ed will, our commissioner, he'll post in Discord or whatnot. He'll let us know when we're actually starting certain periods, just because things might come up. Like, for example, this year we had teams drop out, so we had to find replacements. So as you can see, there's a free agency period 1. There's a free agency period 2. Here's payday. And then, let's see. And that's when free agency period 2 ends on payday. Then in-season free agency period 3 will open. And I won't go into detail here, but so there's 3 free agency periods. And so, for free agency, you can look at, I'm going to assume the viewer is familiar with, knows how to use My Fantasy League or similar fantasy football websites. So I'm going to just focus primarily on our message board and cap sheets. So here you can see we have our bid for our free agent forum. And so we've got, for every position, we have a separate thread or a separate message sub forum to post your bids on. And a free agent doesn't have to be listed on My Fantasy League. An example, I can't remember who it is, but someone in the league now has a player who's not on MMFL. So on the cap sheet, we just put a note at the end saying they're not on there. One example I can remember is probably the most famous one, I think, was Michael Vick at one point. I think it was between his stints in Atlanta and Philadelphia. He was not on MFL. His brother Marcus Vick was on, but not him. And but we could still bid on him. So I will use Michael Vick as an example. So if you want to place a bid, you can go down here, under the here's the general discussion, the free agent forum. Then down here you have the O-Matics, and here's Bid-O-Matic. So I'm going to right click this. I'm going to open it in the new tab. You can open a new window or whatever. And so this is how we do our bidding for free agents. So make it bigger here so it's easier to see. You can select your team, and I don't know if these are updated. Yeah, they're not updated yet. But you should be able to edit. Yeah, you can edit it when you post a message board, and I'll show how. So I'll just select my team for now. And so let's say Michael Vick. So it's first name and then last name. And sometimes in the past, people have done some goofy stuff like we're bidding on Brett Favre. Someone put the guy from Something About Mary. For record keeping stuff, please do first name and last name. NFL team, like Michael Vick, I'll just leave as a free agent. But for whatever player you want to sign, pick like, for example, if we went to Atlanta years, I'll just do that since this is just a demonstration. So select Atlanta. He's a quarterback. So select quarterback. And then you can select your duration. It has to be at least 1 year, maximum 6. NPV, that's a number that's calculated from the annual salary and the annual bonus. And I don't know exactly how the calculation works, but the minimum is 250. So the minimum for your annual salary has to be 250,000. So I'll type that in here. Let's say we'll do that. And we'll give them a 0 for an annual bonus. And since this will be the first bid for the player, click on initial. And then what you do is, now this doesn't actually put it on the message board. You click submit bid, and here it'll show you, it'll give you an output to copy onto the message board. Then this is what the part that actually goes for bidding. And so this will tell you if you make any mistakes. Like, for example, if I only gave them an annual salary of 25,000, it'll tell you that you didn't do the minimum. So fix that, resubmit it. And so what I like to do is I like to have this part's not unnecessary, but I like to have this is how I like to do it. I like to have a planning sheet, and I'll do it here. So it'll help demonstrate just moving players around on the cap sheet. So like my roster is full. And this will be a good way to demonstrate how to cut players on the cap sheet. And now let's pretend we're in free agency 1, and then I plan to do an example for free agency 2 and free agency 3. So let's say I want to cut Joe Burrow. Let me look. Let's see. I'll look on the cap savings and see who can save me the most money. Yeah, and it's Joe Burrow. So what you do, if you remember from my last video, the cap hit and cap savings are different in each of the sections. And you want to maintain the rest of the row in order for the cap hit and cap savings in the other sections to update. And here, let's look at this. Let me just snip this quick so we can compare. We'll do a comparison so you can see what it looks like before and after we make a cut in free agency period 1. This is an off-season cut. So what we'll do, what I would do is cut Joe Burrow then on my fantasy league, but this is how I won't do that. Like right now, I'm just doing a planning for it, but this is like how you do it. You select all the cells from the position through the points. You leave the cap hit and cap savings. Don't select those. And so with those selected, you can either hit copy up here, or you can do Control-C if it's a Windows machine. So with that copied, then you scroll down to say, so we're going with so we go Now he is not a free agent signing. You see, this is where the coloring is important. Like if it was color coded like one of these guys, then we would put him in another section. But since he's not a free agent signing this year, and it's not payday yet, we put him in here, the non-free agent pre-payday cuts. So I'll just put them at the end here. We'll do Control V, or you can also, I think it's here, I think it's probably just, yeah, you click here and paste and see. So it'll put everything that we selected up there, paste it in here from position to points. And so this is the cap hit, like we went over. It's a hit of $3.5 million, but then it'll be a savings of $8 million. And so like the cap hit is, again, the years times a bonus. So that's how much it'll cost against you. But the cap savings is his total salary minus that hit. So it'll still be saving $8 million. Okay, so we copied him down here. So this will account for the cap hit and cap savings that get calculated at the top. But now we have to remove him from the top here. And just deleting players, like that can get kind of messy because you'll have like gaps. What I like to do to like maintain the rest of the columns is I'll like select everything below them. So like the number 2 player here, Dylan Gabriel, I select those same columns, position to points. I select all the way down here. Select all the players in the active roster, copy them, and move it up, and I paste it over Joe Burrow here. So then they'll all stay in order, and then I'll delete the bottom one since he's extra now. And I'll also, like, to clear off this color, you can go up here to like this paint bucket, hit that arrow, and go no fill, and that'll clear out that color. So I'll save that. And so now Joe Burrow, he's been moved from the active roster to the cut area. And so now you can see how these values updated. The salary went down about like the 8 million, whatever it was. That's from the roster salary. The penalties went up. So remember from the signing bonus, before the penalty was like 2 million something, but his signing bonus penalty was like 3 something. So now it's like over 5 million. But the overall salary went down from the savings, and the space went up by like the 8 million. So now I've got like $15 million of cap space. So that frees up the spot for signing Michael Vick. And so now what I want to do is I'll put in the player just to make sure in my planning spreadsheet to make sure I have enough cap space. So so Michael Vick, I want to keep them in alphabetical order. So his quarterback, he'd come after Drake May, but I'll select May, and I'll select all these again, just like I did before. And now I'll move them down, like I push the down arrow, and I paste them here. And so now it has Drake May twice. Here I'll put Michael Vick. And now since he's in free agency 1, we have to color code him. So one way to do that is you click on the free agent signing phase 1 here and copy that, Control C. And then we paste that here. And then like we can type the name over that text. That's one way to do it, and I'll demonstrate another way later. And then we want to update this, so I'll find like Atlanta on here. I'll copy and paste that. And now I'm going to change the rest of the values here to match the bid, which was like 250,000. So I did. So the base is 250,000. The bonus is 0. And that automatically updates the salary here because that's a formula. And then we're going to do it 6 years. So I'm going to slide over again, 6 years here. I'm going to delete the rookie because he's not a rookie. The rookie is only for players you draft. And then the earned and ratio are formulas, so I leave those alone. And then the points I'm going to set to 0. And now maybe a free agent who did get points before, but that's okay because you don't have to worry about that. The points are only come into play for renegotiations. And see, like I've got it set so like this pink is only supposed to be for if they're over the ratio. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to like just copy this below the cell below it up. Like with Excel, when you copy a cell, it'll automatically update it for the rows. Like this cell is for row 10, but when I copied it and pasted it here, it put the same formula, but it adjusted for those rows. And so it copies all the formatting too, and it leaves the I forget what I said. But it updates from that. Now I got to move the rookie rule note here because that's supposed to be Dylan Gabriel. And see the cap hit and cap savings. Those are just formulas, so we don't have to worry about those. And so after doing that, we see that I'm not over the salary cap, so I have plenty of room to sign Michael Vick for this amount. So then what I'll do to make the bid official is on the message board. He's a quarterback, so I click on quarterback bids. And this is the initial bid. So I will, let's see where it is on here. I think it's at the bottom. Post thread. You can see, you can look at some previous ones for examples here. Post thread. And now, like Ed mentioned in his email, you do the position, quarterback, and first name, Michael, last name, Vic, Atlanta. And now I'm going to just put demo only. And Ed should probably delete this after I'm done with the video. He doesn't know I'm doing this now, so then what you do is you copy all this text here. I usually include these periods at the top and bottom to make sure I get all the text, because these links at the bottom, players or other owners will need for responding to the bid. So I can do Control C to copy and go over here, and then here I do Control V to paste it. And so here you can don't change numbers or the link or anything. Those do not change, but like if your team's not on there yet, you can change that. So like, for example, I'm just going to change this to, so not actually Osseo Prime bidding for him. So I'm just going to call it demonstration here. And then if you want, you can subscribe. Click one of these buttons here to subscribe. And then if anyone bids on the player, you can get an email. You'll get an email letting you know. So that's all done. So then I click post thread. And the bid is official. So I'm going to close this tab because I don't need that anymore. And so you can see here, it has when it was created, August 9th, 3:02 p.m. And so just to make this as accurate as possible, you probably want to paste this pretty close to when you generate it. And the bid expires Monday, August 10th at the same time. So if no one else bids on, like outbids for a player, the most recent bid, after 24 hours, you get that player. So like all the changes I made on here, I can make to my official sheet and I can pick them up on my fantasy league. But so now let's say you want somebody comes along and they bid on him. So if you got a player, if there's a free agent you want to bid on that someone else already posted a bid like this, what you do is you go to the most recent post and you click on the link, respond to this bid. And see, it's the same O-Matic, but it fills in. Now the minimum NPV is higher. So you have to, so in order here, I'll kind of demonstrate. So let's say this is another team doing it. pick Gotham City since he's not in here more. The player, the team, position, you want to leave those alone unless someone made an error earlier. Now I'll demonstrate some different things. So let's say I want to do, I'll go 6 years, and first I'll leave it like this, 250,000. That's the same as the last bid. And now you notice here, it automatically sets response. Now, since it's not the initial bid, you want to just leave that as a response. If you click submit bid, see now it'll say errors found, minimum NPV not met. So you have to, I forget how much you have to go over, but you have to bid at least more than the other players. So let's say, let's try 350,000. And so that would be enough. You see it shows like here's the new NPV. I think it's like the NPV has to be at least 10,000 more. But so here we got the NPV of like 768,000. Now let's see if you just demonstrate, if you only give it 3 years, see the NPV goes down. Now it's 710,000. So one tip I'll give is if you don't have an annual bonus, I suggest always going to 6 years, because you can always cut the player, and it'll, like if you cut the player with a no bonus, it won't change. You'll still save just as much money. You don't have to pay any penalty. So you might as well go with the whole 6 years. But now let's go back to 250,000. Now that's not enough. But another thing you could do is you could go to, like, I'll put in a $10,000 bonus. That's not enough yet. I think 50 there. So if I do like a $50,000 bonus at 6 years, then that'll be enough. See, the NPV is 848,000. And if you do that for like 3 years, see now, you can do a shorter contract, and that's a higher NPV. And so that's stuff you can experiment with. Different people have different strategies for, like, ideally you don't, like, with the bonus, the downside of bonuses is you have to pay the penalty if you cut the player. The positive is they'll have a bigger impact on your NPV. So let me try. Oops. Let me try an example here. So we'll go 6 years, $350,000. That's like the one we did before. That's an NPV of 768,000. Let me snip this just to make sure, so I can compare it. Now let's try this. If we go back to 250,000, and now let's give him a signing bonus of 100,000. So this will also be a $350,000 contract, like per year. You see, the NPV is increased a lot more. Before it was 768,000. Now it's like over 1 million. Because the annual salary is the same, or the total salary is the same, like 350,000. But since more of it is guaranteed, that makes that contract worth more. So there's a balancing process there. And then let's go with this. Let's say the other team responds. If you're responding to another team, after you do this, it's just like before. You copy this whole part here and go back to your message board, and then you put that in the reply and hit post reply. And that'll reset the 24-hour clock. So now, see, before it expired at 3:40, this one's at 3:56. So now I got 24 hours from this bid. Oh, let me edit this just so I change the team name. I'll call this other team. Okay, and then so let's say you got the email, you saw someone else bid. Now you want to see, you still want, or you check the message board and you see someone outbid you. So now if you want to outbid them, it's the same thing. You click respond to this bid. I'll I'll do my team for now. And now what I like to do is, you see it fills in here. So I'm going to do that. Like make sure I still have enough salary space. And again, this isn't enough. I have to do more. So just as an example, like let's say I decide to pay him what's that? $25 million. Now that's definitely plenty. So, but I'm going to put this in here. I wouldn't even have to give him a signing bonus. So yeah, even without a signing bonus at $25 million, that would outbid him. But I want to make sure it fits under the cap. So that's why I have my planning spreadsheet. So I'll take out the bonus and I will increase this to 25 million. And so now you see that goes over the $90 million salary cap and my space is negative. So if I were to put this bid and win him, I would go over the cap and I get penalized for that. And so I can't do that. And that's why I like to have this. That's why I like to do the planning. And I'll like, when I do my plan sheet, I might have several bids out there, and then that way I can track them all on here, and I can track like potential drops, stuff like that. But yeah, let me go back to, what was it? I think it was something like this. Yeah, 350,000, 100,000. No, that would be enough. I think before it was like 250. Yeah. Oops. Yeah, so this would be under the cap. And now I can show here too. You see, with this base and this bonus, you have a negative cap savings. So if you ended up cutting him, like during the preseason, since he's a free agent signing, it'd be a little more complicated, but you would actually have to give up cap space to cut him. So like I personally tried to avoid contracts like that. So if I went like 350,000, 100,000, that would be enough. So I'm going to put, I'll undo that. Control Z will undo stuff in Excel. Yeah, so 350 and 100,000, that would be enough to outbid, but it would give me a negative cap savings. And that might be fine if you're confident you want to keep the player like a long time. You can do the higher bonus, and that'll give them a better NPV. So your salary will be the same, but it's the NPV will be worth more, and it'll be then you can easier to win the bid. But like I'd say the best thing is like experiment. So like say if I increase his annual salary, I can decrease his signing bonus. So let's try this. Yeah, and see like this is still enough. So then if I plug that in here, so then that'd be, I did it again. So if that would be 450,000, and this is like what I have, 50,000. Yeah, so now it would be, I could cut him and I'd get a positive savings. I'm gonna say that. So I'll just do that contract with 450. So then I copy and paste this just like before. Oh, let me close the other tab. And I forgot to change. I was going to change the team name. Let me do that again. Illustration. And so there, now this spit it up. You see a higher NPV than the last one. And you don't have to go with like a minimum NPV increase. Like if you want to speed up a bid, like get a player faster, you can bid a lot more. You can like, if someone bids 250,000, you could like quarterbacks. So like usually have higher salaries, so you could like jump it up to like 5 million or 10 million or something like that. It'll take a little while to might take some time to get a feel for how to do bidding. So let's say then no one else bids on Michael Vick here, and you get over 24 hours and you win the player. So then what you get to do is then you can go to my fantasy league and you could like, search for the player. Of course, he won't be on here, but then you can add him here. And like since I am cutting Joe Burrow, I would also have to, I lost him there. I would also have to include that there. I mean, I'd have to cut him on my fantasy league. And so like, let's say if you do decide to do like the planning in the regular one, so now I will, for me personally, after I actually do make a transaction, I'll go to my like official one and I update the date on it. Like these demo ones, I don't have it on, but I don't have a date, but like our official ones, I would put the new date on there. So then here I would just do the same thing I did. So I cut Joe Burrow. So I select that, copy that whole row. It's a non-free agent payday cut, so I paste them here. And now I know that I'm signing Michael Vick and know where he goes. So I only have to select these ones here, copy and paste those up, and now I'll also move those notes up. And now I can put Michael Vick here. And I'll show the other way of coloring, of how you can color, like get the correct formatting and style. If you go down to the legend, or if you have a player above that who's also a free agent phase one signing, you can use them. Just click on the cell and then click Format Painter here. And you see it'll stay like highlighted. And now you got a little paintbrush on your cursor. You can scroll back up and then click on the name, and it'll format it for you to match the legend. And I'll fill in the rest of the info. So he's got 400. So it ended up being, we'll say, a $450,000 salary, $50,000 signing bonus, 6-year contract. Delete that part. Yep. And then like show before, I can just copy that over there, and 0 points since it's a free agent signing. And then we have like specified times, like Ed will notice, like during the season, usually before we start new free agent period, we have designated for posting our most recent cap sheets. But it's probably a good idea to like, I like to, whenever I make changes, if I got a few bids out and then I win a couple and don't win the others, once after I add the players, I like to go to it's a good idea to go to your cap sheet thread and post it, and post your most recent one there. I think I kind of went over this last time. And then you can just like post reply. You can type it. You can like put in here, like picked up. Added Michael Vick. I spelled it wrong, but that's okay. Choose files. And if I go to cap demo, open, and then you click add attachment. And for me, this takes a little while. So now that you can see here, it shows that it's attached, and then you'd hit post reply. Like I'm not going to actually post this here, and then you can let me, depending on if like your cap sheet partner might check it out or might not. Like we really, it can be good practice for them. Let me know, and I'll run it through the cap sheet app and the nice thing about like if the app currently will test for all the formulas. So if like there's any mistake with the copying and pasting, the app should check it, but there are bugs in it still, and it's always a good idea for like humans to check it too. But we can at least like keep the cap sheets up to date and checked out, like verified. If we like whenever you make a change, post it on there. I mean, you don't have to, but it'd be a good practice. And so now let's and so that was like if it was free agency 1, I went over. Let me demonstrate a couple other adds and drops. So if I go back to the rules, let's say it's okay. If it's still, let's say it's still free agency 1, and you see this orange color, I mean, these guys are signed in free agency 1. I don't think I need my planning one anymore, so I'm just going to close that. Let's say I decide to cut Nick Folk during free agency 1. So it's the same as copy. Now he was a free agent signing. So if I go down to these sections, so this is for non-free agents, non-FA. So he wouldn't go here because he's a free agent signing. He would go here, free agent 1 and 2, pre-payday cuts. So then I would paste him here. And now he's a special case because that would be free agency 1 and he's cut during free agency 1. So that'd be 100% of his base and signing bonus. So I'd have to go over here. And I think that this is pretty rare. So you probably don't have to worry about that. I wouldn't worry about this too much. This is something that the app doesn't check for yet. I'll have to I'll have to add this in. So here we want to delete the 0.25, the times 0.25, because it'd be a full cap hit, and probably just put free agents number 1 here as a designation. And I'll have to update the app so it'll check for that note and then check that this equation has been changed. Otherwise, I'll flag that error. But that's something for like the cap partners to check. And so let's say now let's pretend it's free agency 2. So that's free agency period 1, free agency period. Now we'll say it's free agency period 2. And oh wait, I forgot. I got to do this again, where I copy all that, and so I can take Nick Folk off of here. And then I will delete this and remove that color there. And so let's say it's free agency period 2, and I want to cut JK. Let's see. Oh, this guy, Hunter Henry. He's got a pretty big contract. So he's not a free agent. Like he's not colored. He wasn't signed. So he would also go here. Non-free agent period 1. Paste them there. The cap savings updates. And I would copy all these again, the positions to the points, and include that bottom one, that empty cell. So now that empty cell goes over the bottom one there, and I don't have to worry about deleting it. So at the end, and it's good to keep out the spaces because then you can check, your cap partner can check right away and see like, okay, he's got 51 players, compare that to MFL and see that the players match up. And so then if I were to sign a player during free agency 2, like let's say the Michael Vick one kept going, the bidding kept going, and he didn't give him during free agency 1. So now I would just use the format Peter on free agency 2, and then I would just color him that for free agency 2. But then if it's free agency 2, and let's say I cut Christian Benford, and he's orange, so he was signed during free agency 1. So then since he was signed during free agency 1, he wouldn't go here, he would go to this one. players signed during those free agencies and paste him here. And also now we're saying it's free agency 2, so you don't have to change the formula. That's still just 0.25. You can see like that would hurt my cap savings. I end up paying a penalty. And that's why I like to do, I'll take them all up here then. And that's why I like to do the planning spreadsheet so I can make sure and double check how moves will affect my cap. And now let's say it's during the season. Let me so it's, let's say now it's after payday, just to demonstrate this. It's after payday and I want to cut a player. Say I want to cut Roman or Ryan Flournoy. So I select again the position through the points. And now it's post payday. So this section is for pre-payday. This section is also pre-payday. All post payday cuts go here. And so you can see like even though up here for Flournoy it said it would be a cap savings of 785, that's only in the that's only before payday. That's only the off season. It actually is going to cost over $900,000 to cut him after payday. And you see, like he's in pink. That means he was renegotiated, and like so that color doesn't matter for where they go in the cuts. After payday, all the players will go into the post payday cut section. So I can do this again. Copy all those, paste it over there. Oops. And so now you can see after I cut him, my salary actually went up. Before it was like 73 million, now it's 74 million because of the penalty. Like my penalty went up after I cut him. So and then if it's like, let's say I sign Michael Vick during the regular season, like it's week 5 or week 6 and you sign a free agent, is the same process, except now it's just this color here, free agent signing phase 3. So you can click that, click the format painter. And I'm just you wouldn't, like I'm just using Michael Vick as an example. Once you sign a player, you wouldn't change their free agent coloring. That would always stay like that. And so that should, or like the original color you use is that should always stay. So I'm going to change them back to that. Yeah. So so that should be it for how free agency works. I can show a couple other transactions here quick. So let's say if you want to promote someone from the developmental squad, like say I'm Kenyon Sadiq. Let's say I'm mid-season and I want to promote Kenyon Sadiq. So it's really similar. Like find out where he would go up here. He's a tight end. I only have one tight end here now, so I'll just select all these, copy them, push the arrow down. So I pasted one below. So now it's got the 2 Juwan Johnsons. So now I'll select him here. Again, just position through the points. And then Sadiq alphabetically would go after Johnson. So paste him there. And now I would remove him from here the same way as did the other remove players. Copy and paste that over. Then delete the bottom line since there's a double player there. And now for players you promote from the developmental squad, we've got this coloring here. So I click the format painter there, go back up and find Kenyon Sadiq and update his formatting. Okay, so I think I've shown promoting, and you can't put an active roster player on the developmental squad during the season. You can sign someone as a free agent. So let's say I signed let's say I signed Marcus Fick during the regular season, and I put him, and he's eligible for the developmental squad. I could put him on here. So, yeah, so we'll say it's a regular season. So that would be free agent signing 3. Do it the other way this time, Marcus Fick. Let's see. I'll just put him as a. Do I have a free? Yeah, I think I've got a free agent one I can copy somewhere here. And I'll just FA for now. And let's say I got him for the minimum. And then you just fill in the rest of these. Make it 0 points again. So you see here, like, you can sign a player to the developmental squad, and then you'd use this color. And then if I was to promote him like a week or 2 later, then I would use the purple color like I showed with Sadiq. And so now, last one I can think of, other than preseason stuff, the last in-season thing I can think of would be an IR. If you put a player on IR. See, I had several on IR last year. Now this is a little different. So if, let's say, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, so if you trade for a player, like, that's this light blue color. I traded for him in the off season, and so that is that formatting there. And you would add them on here, just players you trade away, you remove them by just the same way as we remove the other players, and then you can like add the new player just like that, and that if you trade for them. Well, I would like to do eventually, and I'd have to run this by the league. I'd like to, if we trade away a player, I'd like to put him in this section. I like to change this from just ratio cuts to ratio cuts and traded away players, or maybe make a separate section for traded away players where the cap hit would still be 0. Is that way every player movement would be accounted for from the season before, and I plan on updating the app to verify that no players were accidentally added or removed without being in a section that explains what happened, in case someone just deleted a player, and because then they would avoid a cap hit. So we'd want to check for stuff like that. But that's a side note. That's a little ways off. Now, if I were to put Gardner-Johnson, I do have one of my safeties got hurt. I can't remember for sure which. I know he did for a little bit, but I think he's back. But let's say he's on IR. He would have to be on IR on MFL. I'm pretty sure is our rule. Actually, maybe it's Kobe Bryant. I forget. Well, let's say Kobe Bryant got hurt. I don't have any IR guys on here, spots on here yet. So now what you'd have to do is you select like this bottom one, and this is to maintain all the formulas like at the top and stuff. You click up here, insert, to insert a role. And then even if you do this, even if if there was another player in there, then you copy and paste this onto here. And then you come down here and you copy the IR from the cap sheet legend and paste that in here. And now let's say, I'll go Gardner-Johnson and put him in here. And then I remove him from up here. And so that shouldn't affect the salary cap. You still have to pay a salary and everything. And then, so it's like 76 million now. And let's say another player got hurt. So again, like now since I'm adding these, I'd have to do an insert. And then I would copy and paste this. And let's say this time I forget. I'm pretty sure my fantasy league maintains order, kind of like taxi squad by position and whatnot. So let's say Isaiah McDuffie was put on IR. I think the linebackers go. Oops. I think linebackers go first. So then I put him here just like that. Copy and paste him there. and copy all the guys below him, paste them up there. And yeah, and then the salary stays the same. And then let's say, for example, Chauncey Gardner comes off IR during the season. He would, what did I think it's Spike Gardner. Yeah, he comes out, he'd be after Kobe Bryant. So then to move him back up here, I would just select these, copy and paste those down. Select Chauncey Gardner, copy, paste him here. And then here, you don't have to necessarily get rid of the IR at this point. You can just keep it in case someone else goes on IR later on. So I would just delete them here and clear out the color there. Yeah, so I think that's everything for in-season player movement. Again, you can ask during the season. We'll be more than happy to help clarify things. Again, let me know if you have any questions or any other topic you'd like me to cover. Otherwise, for my next one, I'm planning on doing and performing the steps like for during the preseason, like renegotiating contracts and making like racial cuts and things like that. So, this one went even longer than my last one. So I better end it here. Thanks.